The Museum of Contemporary Art Denver presents Practicing Citizenship, a conversation series featuring artists, activists, and experts exploring civic engagement. Tonight, we bring you I Am Rivero, the story of Rivero Stennett presented by the Emancipation Theater Company. And now, here's Sarah Bai, MCA Denver's Director of Programming.
Hello everyone, I'm Sarah Bai, Director of Programming at the Museum of Contemporary Art Denver, and this is Practicing Citizenship, a program series MCA Denver is producing in conjunction with the exhibition Citizenship, a Practice of Society, which is on view now at the Museum of Contemporary Art Denver, and we're coming to you live every Wednesday night throughout the run of the exhibition. Tonight we present a screening of I Am Rivero, the story of Raverro Stennett, a series of monologues produced by the Emancipation Theater Company and the Armory Denver with music by Playground Ensemble. As a bit of background, on April 20th, 2018, Denver artist Raverro Stennett left a gala just after midnight and walked to Union Station to catch a train home. When Stennett left Union Station 3 hours later, he had a brain injury resulting in permanent brain damage. Rivero was beaten in a bathroom by a private security guard with Allied Universal Security, a firm working under contract with RTD. 3 of the officers involved in the violent assault pled guilty to criminal charges in connection with the incident. A 4th was not charged because he is a cooperating witness. On July 4th of this year, Emancipation Theater Company launched a public service announcement about the incident and attached a petition for people to acknowledge their support, to fire Allied and to pay Rivero, and to support the resolution of Chantel Lewis, District B Director at RTD. What you're about to see tonight is a presentation of artists and concerned citizens coming together to advocate for Rivero. You will hear reports made by volunteers at public comments, as well as at RTD board meetings, and you will hear about the number of open cases that Allied has across the country. This work is a collaborative effort led by Jeff Campbell. Jeff is a writer who has been part of Denver's creative community for over 2 decades, as a pioneering hip-hop and spoken word artist, as well as a facilitator of arts and education programs for Colorado's youth in public schools. His production company, Emancipation Theater, is a performance art social enterprise dedicated to gathering the community to share stories and to inspire action. Following the presentation tonight, Jeff will give an update on the actions City Council has taken yesterday, and after which he will be leading a discussion that will include many different panelists, including Rivero himself. The artwork and animation was provided by Raverro Stennett. The sound score is written by Conrad Keene and Playground Ensemble. And MCA Denver is honored to present this conversation. We're glad that you are tuning in on YouTube, and we invite you to be a part of the discussion. As you watch tonight, you can type your comments in the comment box at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to comment, you're going to need to log in before you can. So click on the Say Something box at the bottom of the live chat area to get started. And if you're watching this from a TV, commenting is complicated. So you're better off doing it from a computer, a tablet, or a phone. And as questions come up throughout this presentation, you can type them in the chat. You can save them for the end. As always, we want to hear your voice, and we want to make this community a welcoming space for conversation. So we ask that you be respectful in the comments. And now the presentation, I Am Rivero.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. Lord, I'm tired, I am so weak, I am a wall. Through the storm, through the night, lead take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home. Lord, when my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life seems to be passing on, oh Lord, hear my cry, Father, hear my call. Hold my hand, lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home. At the river, Lord, I'm gonna stand. Guide my feet, hold tight to my trembling hand. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home.
Advertised as Denver's living room, Union Station, a public space funded by taxpayers' dollars, claims to be a place where all are welcome. However, Union Station is regulated by heavily armed security guards, contracted by RTD, to make sure the city's policies and guidelines are abided by. You better not fall asleep in Union Station. You better not hang out too long. You better not come and take advantage of the city or its facilities. You will be dealt with. RTD employs 600 armed security guards agency-wide to ensure that the safety and security of the people who rely on public transportation day in and day out are accommodated. Doesn't that make sense? Isn't that all we're trying to do? In 2014, Hancock and Hickenlooper got the city booming, right? 2 years after Amendment 64 and Union Station was reopened. At the time, RTD only had 8 of its own cops. Transit police didn't even work overnight back then. Instead of building a transit police department from within the city government, they decided to outsource the liabilities of law enforcement to a private security company, one of the largest security companies on earth, Allied Universal Security Services. Fast forward to 2018. Gentrification has escalated around the city from a gradual erosion to a full-on avalanche of displacement. The camping ban was now 6 years old. The city's wealth gap was on full display, and a city so eager to graduate from its cowtown status and to bolster its pseudo-progressive facade began to resent the people in the streets.
I met Rivero when working for the community. We were doing the preparation for an arts action around the homeless crisis, and we were tasked with creating something artsy and interactive for youth and their families. I'd never met Rivero before, but we were locked together for the next 24 hours, running all over Denver, planning furiously, painting murals, and going to the hardware store back and forth, back and forth. I was struck by Rivero immediately. His smile, his quiet presence, his chuckle and his laugh, and his dedication to his friends. So the day of the event comes by, and I bring all of these costumes, ridiculous costumes, to wear to hang out with the kids. And to my surprise, because we had not planned this, Rivero showed up and was game to wear a matching ridiculous costume. I was so touched. I know he was not that kind of performer, yet he stepped beyond his comfort level, beyond his zone, to show up, to do something meaningful for someone else, to make the event truly meaningful. I know Rivero to be an amazing and talented artist. I know him to be good-natured. I know him to show up for the hard stuff because he believes in it. So, when I heard about the assault, I was furious. Why Rivero? He's so quiet. And he's shy, actually, and quite tall. And you often find him hanging out with his headphones on, listening to music, and scrunching up his shoulders just a little bit so as not to attract that much attention. And you hear about the brutalization of Black bodies by the cops on the news, but this was someone that I knew, that I was friendly with, that was an artist who did so much for the community. And then I thought, it doesn't matter what his backstory is, this just shouldn't happen to anyone, period. And Rivero did not want to go to the police. He didn't want to file a report because he didn't think anyone would believe him. But some artists and some activists and some friends convinced him otherwise, and so he did, and 2 detectives took up the case. And they took it pretty seriously, actually. They found all of the security guards and interviewed them. And of course, they lied and collaborated on their story. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. But the video footage that night at Union Station told a different story. It showed Rivero standing there, surrounded, being harassed. It showed Rivero walking to the bathroom with a guard walking behind him, slipping on a black glove with metal spikes right on the knuckles. Metal spikes. Seriously, this guy was looking to do harm. And so they hooked him up with a civil rights attorney named Qsar Mohammed Bai. Rivero calls him Q, and he did a lot of good. And the guards, they eventually started talking, and one of them gave evidence and testimony against the other, and the one that beat Rivero up so badly, he went to jail. Have you seen the photos of Rivero? His eye is swollen shut, and his head is ravaged by that guy. That guy ravaged his head. And for what? For nothing, for him sitting there in a public place waiting for public transit. They profiled him for being homeless. That's their excuse, so they can harass someone and tell them to move along. But actually, he was coming from like a really fancy schmancy Red Line Arts Gallery event. It could have been any one of us, any one of those artists that attended that night, sitting there waiting for that train. But I can guarantee you that my white body would not have been harassed, would not have been bullied into a bathroom and beaten to an inch of my life. And so, some of the guards get probation, some get sent to jail, and we think justice has been served. Things are free, things are clear, and Allied Security and RTD will take responsibility for their actions for hiring a racist team, a racist man, in their uniform on their dime. And they'd help Rivero pay for his medical bills. But no, that did not happen. They kept pointing fingers at each other. Well, it's not our responsibility. Well, we didn't train him to be this way. He's just one bad apple. Well, it just takes one bad apple to make you sick. And if you served up that bad apple, you should be taking responsibility for robbing someone of their livelihood, of their career. Because Rivero is not the same man. Brain injury is real. It's a really fucking big deal. And he doesn't feel inspiration or motivation to do his art anymore. And he feels afraid, and he has memory lapses, like long-term effects. He stops midway in most of his sentences, and he apologizes a lot. And he went to the doctors, and he got brain scans, and it's official. He has brain damage, and yet he has not been paid one dime for what is owed to him. He had a full ride scholarship to Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design, and yet he can't go back. And RTD has not taken responsibility for doing this to him. And it's been 2 years since the assault, and RTD still nothing for hiring them, for making it happen. They're just not doing one thing. And I have listened to RTD's meetings, their board meetings. I've listened, and they say things like, our top priority is the safety of our riders. We are in the public safety and transportation industry. Well, Rivero is your responsibility. He is your constituent. He is your rider. Why don't they see that? Why don't they do the right thing? They say they are public servants. Well, Rivero is your public. He is part of the community, and he is part of us.
I just sat down and put on my headphones, and I was just going to wait for the next train.
Rivero Stinnett of Denver was assaulted by a security guard at Union Station in April 2018.
Took out my headphones, and they was like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just waiting for the train. And he was like, well, you can't wait here.
This pattern continued with Stinnett moving and guards following telling him he had to leave.
There's people here. How come I can't just wait with them? He was like, well, not.
The security guards followed him. 2 waited outside while the other 2 went in. Then Stinnett says yelled for everyone who was in the bathroom at the time to get out. The security guards involved in the attack were subcontractors hired by RTD.
And then as soon as I turned around, I looked down, and dude is putting on gloves with little studs on them, and I'm like, what are you doing with them? And as soon as I said that, he punched me, and I don't remember anything else after that. It must have hit me hard because I got a scar here, scar on my nose, all this was busted up, my teeth were jacked because I was pretty. He didn't just hit me one time and then I have all this damage.
The guard who beat Stinnett up, James Hunter, pleaded guilty and received a prison sentence. 2 other guards also pleaded guilty and got probation.
You know, it was just premeditated violence and racial profiling. They knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't the first time they'd done something like this. They knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't the first time they'd done something like this.
People need to get angry and do something because things need to change. Because it seems like every time I try to paint, I just bust out in tears.
Permanent brain injury that is visible from scans.
I just bust out in tears.
What happened to Rivero by way of Allied Security is deplorable.
We'll provide compensation to Rivero Stinnett.
The violent, racist attack on Rivero.
Provide compensation to Rivero Stinnett.
To account for his livelihood being taken in such a violent way.
Provide compensation to Rivero Stinnett.
Good evening, everyone. We have quite a crowd with us here this evening. Well, on the phones, anyway. And eventually we'll let you all speak. It's going to take a while to get through everyone. So when it's your turn, keep it short. I will be cutting you off at 3 minutes. It's not my fault. I would listen to you speak all night if I could, but we do need to run this like a business, don't we? Okay, then. The RTD Operations and Customer Service Committee will now come to order. Okay, here we go. As you know, at RTD, safety is our core value, so we will be doing a safety briefing, as we usually do. What? Yes, and customer service. Customer service is also a core value. You can't have one without the other, now can you? All right, now to the business before us. First, before we jump into the first agenda item, I would like to take a moment to address all the ruckus, all the phone calls, the emails, the things in the press, on the radio. I mean, I don't understand where this is coming from. What are the tactics being used here, and by whom? The situation with Mr. Sinet happened almost 2 years ago. It was a horrible incident, and the man who did it went to prison. That's it. Justice was served. So I don't understand why this is coming up now. Why is all this being stirred up now? I'd like to know. Yes, I'm going to read the statement now. RTD is sensitive to the concerns our society has regarding policing. The Stinnett case was an isolated event of criminal activity that does not align with RTD's core values, nor does it reflect our attitude, mission, policies, or practices. As horrible as this incident was, this is about individuals' bad behavior, and those individuals are suffering the consequences. Additionally, we are working with community members on the agency's code of conduct to ensure it strikes the right balance in requiring appropriate behavior on RTD's system while respecting people's rights. While respecting people's rights. Okay, enough said. The next item on the agenda is a resolution brought to us by Director Chantel Lewis, who recommends action for prioritizing alternative safety measures. So basically what this says is that we need to get rid of our security forces, and the $27.3 million saved should be moved to mental health, social support, medical professionals, homeless outreach workers, et cetera, instead. Set up a committee, a working class of citizens, to look through all of it, right? A citizens committee. Well, I have numerous issues with the resolution itself and the manner in which it comes to us. Also, the way that support has been garnered. I mean, really, all of the phone calls, we get it, okay? It's enough. One of us has been taking these issues to the media before we've had a chance to discuss them ourselves, and I don't appreciate it. I mean, really, I find this resolution vague, ambiguous, internally inconsistent, and frankly, poorly written. I wish the media would report on that. I mean, they know something about poorly written, don't they? Now, this resolution has a $27.3 million fiscal note, and I don't know what's supposed to happen to that money. And after hearing Director Lewis explain, apparently she doesn't know either. So we are supposed to just set aside $27.3 million and allow the citizens to determine where it goes. Sounds like a slush fund to me. I believe that this is coming from the defund the police movement. Now, my constituents are strongly opposed to this. By the way, RTD is not the police. We are not social workers. We move people, period. We take them from here to there. We move people. I think our PR ladies came up with that slogan. It's very catchy. Now, I didn't bother to speak to Director Lewis in advance, but this resolution is, it's very rough format. I mean, I don't even know what she's trying to accomplish with this resolution. And instead of building consensus with the board, now we're being inundated with phone calls and emails. I mean, we get it, enough already. I don't even know what her intentions are. And frankly, the document is so confusing, I probably would never understand. Now, I also have gotten some other rather emotional emails from customers who are concerned for their safety at the stations. Now, what? Well, yes, Mr. Sinet was a customer, I suppose, I believe. I guess he wasn't homeless, but they may have thought he was. And we have many homeless and threatening people at the stations. That is not racism. That's reality. That's what I'm saying anyway. We need security. And in fact, we probably need it more now than ever, with all the riots, all the uptick in violence. No, excuse me, Director Lewis, this is not your turn to comment here. Please, Director Lewis, it's not your turn to speak. You went first. It is our turn to comment. You wrote this document. You called your little friends, okay? It's not okay for you to speak. Now, I'm gonna go around the room, and I understand that that's difficult for you to keep up with, but you, of all the people in this room, should understand that it is important for everyone to have an equal say. Now, I'm going to go around to all the directors, including myself, and when we're done here, I'll allow you a chance to speak. And then we have to get to all the callers, so it's going to be a long night. The main issue here is who's going to protect our drivers and our riders if we get rid of Allied security. What? Well, yes, Mr. Sinet intended to be a rider, but he didn't quite make it on the train that night, so he wasn't technically a rider, now was he? Anyway, we move people. We are not mental health counselors. That is beyond our scope, regardless. Just like responsibility for this horrible incident is beyond our responsibility. We hired a contractor. They did bad stuff. Now, we cannot be held liable for the actions of a few bad apples. I mean, we have a budget problem to fix here. It's not like we can just hand over money to every person who twists their ankle getting off the bus, now can we? Like I said, we've had a lot of comment from the board, and we need to get to the phones and let the callers talk. So we should probably talk about this some other time, preferably in another forum. In fact, I highly recommend another forum. Of course, this is a very important issue, and we take it very seriously at RTD. Safety is our top priority. Safety and transportation.
One has to wonder if this is just a typical graveyard shift in a place like Union Station. In the early hours of April 20th, 2018, 4 security officers approached Rivero Stinnett, a black man, for no other reason than a confrontation. Not because he was there longer than 2 hours, the maximum time to wait for a train. Not because he was asleep, he was awake. One has to wonder if Officer Diaz, one of the 4 officers in the incident, was telling the truth when he said that this wasn't the first time that they saw things being swept under the rug, or that in the past they've been told to target individuals that appear homeless to them. When none of the 4 officers, including Taylor Taggart, the supervisor on duty that night, left the entire incident off their activity logs. No incident reports were filed. No ambulance was called. Was Officer Diaz being sincere when he said, "It's not like it is anything out of the ordinary. We try to protect ourselves. We try to protect each other"? Is this how private companies shoulder the responsibility and authority of law enforcement? Did the city intentionally relinquish liability of the safety of vulnerable citizens as a way to deal with loitering in their brand new, beautiful living room? And are we sacrificing the safety of one group of citizens for the other? And if so, why?
Yep. April 20th, that morning. I'll never forget. It was Hitler's birthday. That's what we do every year to celebrate. We look for some fucking nigger to kick the shit out of. We've been doing that for years. That's how we celebrate. We had a plan that morning. Taggart had my back, so did Diaz. He's Spanish, not Mexican, so he's cool. You don't like niggers either. He might have some Mexicans in his family. I don't know. I don't care. You know, Fugeri, he was a snitch bitch, and I could tell all along. I could tell he'd crack if we got caught. If he had just kept his mouth shut, we would have got away with it. I could tell he'd crack. But it was the anniversary of the birth of the Fuhrer, so we had to do it. We must secure an existence for our people and a future for white children. These liberal cucks want open borders. They want to take away our guns. Fucking child molested cannibals. They want welfare and social programs for these fucking lazy perverts and drug addicts. Criminals coming across our borders. At least Trump is standing up to that shit. Finally, a fucking president with some fucking balls, kicking those communist pieces of shit out of our country. These people all need to be corralled up and put into a warehouse and killed. Once and for all. Exterminated. That's what's wrong with this country. We give and we give and we let anyone come in. We don't even know where they come from. These idiots are going to wake up one day and we'll be living under Sharia law. All the true American values are being destroyed. These Jews and niggers want to take over our government. America was born as a white man's country. And these communists want to change that. That is white genocide. These fucking lazy drug addicts want to come here to Union Station and hang out all night and day. Half of them choose to be homeless. Except for the veterans. I respect them. But you can't be lazy and use PTSD, whatever, as an excuse. I'm not a racist. If you're a black or a Mexican and you got a job and are respectful to the flag and you go to church like you're supposed to and you shut up about race, oh, I'm a minority, I'm so oppressed. Shut up and move on with your life. Get a job. Or your job is protesting. Get over yourself. It's these welfare lowlifes who live off of our government that I hate. Trash. Disrespectful pieces of shit. Go back to your shithole country if you hate it here so much. You're lucky to be in America. If it's so bad, why is everyone trying to come here? If you are so unhappy, leave. I knew Fugari was going to be a snitch. He acted scared that night. What a fucking pussy. We had a plan. We were going to look after each other, but he was a punk and I could tell. There's always one. Wannabe nigger, pants sagging, fake gang banger idiot. You're a sellout to your own race. The white man is going to prevail. We are going to rise up and finally kill all of these niggers and wetbacks once and for all. If they don't want to assimilate or be a part of the society that the white man built for them, then they can all die. The white man can't even protect himself anymore. But we're going to wake up, finally. Hitler was fucking right. And now, it's only a matter of time before the Civil War. And I, for one, I can't wait.
At
At RTD, safety is our core value. Safety is our core value. Please do not anticipate that the board will respond to questions and comments at this time. At RTD, safety is our core value. Please do not anticipate that the board will respond to questions and comments at this time.
You are supposed to represent the people and respond to the people.
Please do not anticipate that the board will respond to questions and comments at this time. At RTD, safety is our core value. Safety is our core value.
You are supposed to represent the people and respond to
safety is our core value. 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 Please do not anticipate that the board will respond to questions and comments at this time.
In 2019, an Allied Universal Security Guard made headlines when he was caught planning an attack on a synagogue in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was caught with materials used to make bombs and was found to have multiple contacts with white supremacist extremists. Also last year, New York City renewed their $284 million contract with Allied-owned FJC Security despite multiple lawsuits against them, including an involvement in an arrest when a 1-year-old was ripped from a 23-year-old mother's arms. In Los Angeles, Lawana Powers, a former employee of Allied Universal Security Services, was fired for reporting racist text messages to her supervisor. In Ross Township in Pennsylvania, an Allied security guard stopped a black Louis Vuitton security guard on his way to work, insisting he remove his uniform, and then made him call the store manager to verify he worked there, and was still followed the whole way and greeted by police when he arrived to work, just to verify that he had a job. Are incidents like this all over the country under the same company a coincidence, or just a few bad apples? Why does this company have so many incidents of this kind? If it were any other group on Earth who consistently had incidents harassing, assaulting, brutalizing particular groups of people, would it be excused as bad apples or a pathology?
Google Allied Security Assault. Allied Security Assault. Hundreds of assaults.
Allied security guards pleading guilty.
Your private security guard. They were instructed to do this. They were instructed to do this. Your private security guard.
What is their purpose? What is their purpose?
In Colorado, in 2017, an Allied security guard killed a man at a light rail station.
Allied security guards at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, knelt on the man's neck for more than 4 minutes and then restrained him face down for 20 minutes.
A former airport security employee for Allied Universal Security Services recently filed a lawsuit against the company and several of its employees. The complaint, filed in February in Manhattan, contains shocking descriptions of serious sexual harassment and racial discrimination.
Slammed a kindergarten student on a table and then choked him with both hands.
Allied Security Assault. Hundreds of assaults.
Allied security guards pleading guilty.
Your private security guard. They were instructed to do this.
Racial bias and profiling within RTD.
What is their purpose?
In May of 2019,
In New York, in 2018,
an Allied security guard at a mall.
4 homeless people who say they were assaulted by guards at the station last year. On October 10th, and 2017, Howell filed her lawsuit alleging that Allied and 7 of its supervisors created and maintained a race-defined, sexually hostile environment. Her lawsuit also alleges that she complained about the behavior and repeatedly refused to engage in lewd acts. The company fell into a door and smashing the man's cane across his face.
Google Allied Security Assault.
Allied security guards pleading guilty.
Your private security guard.
Racial bias.
They were instructed to do this.
We want Allied Universal Securities out of RTD. End the contract with Allied Universal Security.
Dissolve the contract with Allied.
Fire Allied Security.
Why won't you even discuss terminating Allied Security?
We want Allied Universal Security.
I fail to understand why the general manager was able to bypass the board to renew the contract with Allied Universal
I would
Security.
also like an explanation as to how one person is able to sign away $40 million contract.
I fail to understand why the general manager
So what I don't understand as elected officials, how could you possibly have renewed this contract? Aren't you now bad apples? As elected officials, aren't you now bad apples?
Whereas the Regional Transportation District, RTD, was created in 1969 by the Colorado General Assembly to promote the public health, safety, convenience, economy, and welfare of residents of the district and of the state of Colorado. And whereas RTD's mission is to meet constituents' present and future public transit needs by offering safe, clean, reliable, courteous, accessible, and cost-effective service throughout the district. And whereas RTD's constituency includes the general public, transit riders, and the taxpayers. And whereas RTD's Civil Rights Division's core objectives are to provide our passengers, employees, business partners, contractors, and communities with equal opportunity and access to public transit services. And whereas the Civil Rights Division has a commitment to promoting fairness, excellence, and professional integrity throughout all of its initiatives. And whereas RTD acknowledges the historical trauma and harm that Black communities have experienced at the hands of police and security personnel. And whereas Black and Indigenous communities, communities of color, low-income communities, unhoused communities, and our most marginalized and most vulnerable communities depend on the RTD for their transit needs. And whereas transit security officers, allied transit security, and secondary employment police officers are, as often as possible, be accompanied by crisis intervention teams trained to respond to mental, behavioral, and social challenges. And whereas Black Lives Matter. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the RTD Board of Directors directs RTD's general manager to appropriate $30 million to invest in the expansion of mental, behavioral, and social support professionals, such as social workers, medical professionals, homeless outreach workers, transit ambassadors, and any other additional support identified to respond to constituent interactions. And be it further resolved that the board and the general manager terminate the Allied Security contract no later than December 31st, 2020, and allocate the funds previously used towards accomplishing the objectives set forth in this resolution, such as requiring the use of crisis intervention teams trained to respond to mental, behavioral, and social challenges.
Speak with my hands. I used to DJ back in the day. I love hip hop. Rhymes, beats, come together to make something new, make you feel something, a mood, a memory, an emotion, something that wasn't there before. I love it when a painting does this with colors, shapes, shadows, or a photograph with its light, symmetry, contrast. They layer. The way art speaks to us, I always related to that as a kid. I mean, with 7 brothers and sisters, you learn to speak in other ways. I was quiet for the most part, but I like to create something with my hands that could show you where I was coming from. Making beats is just like language, right? I love technology. The things you can do with the imagination and how the music can sometimes inspire the words in the song that maybe wasn't there before. But in that moment, an idea sparks in. Bam! Something brand new comes from that. A new word, new slang, new way of, doing things, whatever. Music can do that. Photography can do that. Art can do that. Montbello's a great community. Nah, a lot of great artists come from there. Real legends, man. You know Big John? Come on now. Everybody knows Big John. He's the legend. I was younger, watching them DJ. I remember that. I found myself over at Big John's house and Mixmaster Ice from UTFO was there, scratching. He was bad, hands quick. He spoke with his hands. That's how DJs do it. He was the best back then, and everybody remembers Roxanne. Remember, he left the room and I went around the table, jumped on his turntables. I was just a kid, curious. I was trying to scratch. I could not do it. It's hard, man. Remember, he came back to the room and he was like, yo, little dude, what you doing on my records, man? Hey, you gonna mess up my records, man. Then he started teaching me, step by step, how to do it. Mixmaster Ice taught me how to scratch. Yeah, that's what it's like living in Montbello. I guess I got into the wrong crowd at some point. I don't know. In and out of trouble. I was basically homeless for a little bit, back and forth between Denver and Seattle. Seattle's a totally different place, whole different vibe with a different culture. Altitude, the rainforest. Yeah, it rains for real, for real. I learned a lot. Making beats, DJing. I stopped painting for a while. I was moving around so much, I didn't really have nowhere to paint or to put my stuff or to take it with me. Losing your paints, your brushes, canvases, boards, whatever is sort of like losing your words or your way of speaking or expressing yourself if you're someone like me. So it was dope when I got settled down in Colorado Springs. Yeah, I started DJing for a club, and I actually was coming back and forth to Denver once in a while, mixing, scratching, making records on a DJ turntable, mixing paints on a canvas. Yeah. I had started painting again, so that was dope, Things were finally starting to change for me. I got that scholarship to Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. I was meeting people, collaborating, selling my art, working closely with Redline. My life had changed. It was crazy. I had gone from battling my siblings to battling problems within my neighborhood, to battling homelessness, despair, questioning whether or not I was even going to get out of all that. But I get out of all of it. When all those battles, when the battle to be recognized for my artwork, for my mind, to overcome those battles of judgment, just to be here to face this battle right now. The the battle that my life has value, the battle that my quality of life will never be the same. Not because of any choice I made, not because of any bad decision on my part, not because I violated laws or violated people. No, I'm fighting this battle because I was there. Plain and simple. That morning, James Hunter spoke with his hands. The other officers, when filing out their incident reports and activities logs, they spoke with their hands. When they falsified the accounts of what happened that evening, they spoke with their hands. And when RTD renewed their contract, giving them another $40 million, they signed that contract a year after they knew what happened to me. They spoke with their hands, loud and clear. I want to see what people do. Will they cast a vote? Will they vote with their dollars? Who you hand your money to is speaking with your hands, right? Will they tear up that ticket and hop on that train? They could be next. Anyone could be next. But no, y'all think it happened to me because of something I did when I was just waiting for my train. So don't think it can't happen to you. You gonna speak with your hands? What will you say?
I am Rivero. 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 I am Rivero.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome back. As the credits roll, we'll get started here.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you.
So we're about to introduce our panelists tonight. I want to let the credits make their way out before we do that. But you also had some exciting news that I know you wanted to share with everyone.
Yes, that's right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I'm sorry. As of yesterday, the city council struck down a $25 million contract with Allied Universal Security. So that is a incredible success. Beyond that, Rivero Stinnett have reached a settlement with Allied Universal Security Services, RTD, and Rivero's legal team. So we have justice for Rivero. So we should feel really good about that.
That is fantastic news. And it's a great way to start off our conversation tonight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to leave this stream and I'll be bringing in your guests and you'll give their introductions And as you do, I'll bring them in so we can have a conversation about this work, about Rivero, and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, and I'm out, and you're up.
Right. Okay. So, welcome to Emancipation Theater, where the content is the character. Welcome to Emancipation Theater. Thank you all so much for tuning in. My name is Jeff Campbell, the Executive Artistic Director of Emancipation Theater. And tonight I am joined by folks from the community, concerned citizens, artists, creatives who have come together in support of justice for Raverro. First off, we have Sam Krentzman and Mike Casper of the Armory Denver. Sam is the founder and CEO of the Armory Denver. Sam has been producing original music, theater, and dance for over 25 years. And Mike Casper is the co-founder of Black Ink Presents, a worldwide concert producer. And during the pandemic, Mike joined the Armory Denver to help establish a local virtual production space that helps local creatives get their art into the world. So thank you guys for joining. Also, I have Conrad Ken joining us. He is a composer, performer, educator, and arts administrator. He is the founding director of the Playground Ensemble, a chamber ensemble dedicated to modern music. So he put together that incredible soundtrack. Thank you so much for being here, Conrad. Next up, I have Janine Bragg. Janine is a performance maker and community builder who works at the intersection of arts and social justice and as a core collaborator with Emancipation Theater Company. She is a writer, deviser, performer who has worked in Denver's performance scene for more than 25 years. She's also works at Curious Theater Company and Theater Artibus, as well as many other local groups, and is involved in social justice, particularly in racial justice, LGBTQIA, equality, immigrant rights, and women's issues. Thank you so much, Janine, for being here. Next up, we also have Carly Woken. She's a self-love coach and body talk practitioner in training, originally from Lexington, Kentucky, and now residing in Lakewood. She is an avid supporter of the Denver art scene and is currently sits on the board of local anti-racism nonprofit Creative Strategies for Change. Next up, we have Shannon. Is Shannon still on? There she is. We have Shannon Hoffman. She's a passionate education professional and community activist. She works at Northeast Early College in Montbello as the Career and College Success Navigator at Hope Tank and is the program manager for From Allies to Abolitionists. Thank you all so much for being here. So let's just get started. I thought we would just popcorn so folks can chime in as they wish, as they see fit. But any of you, first off, thank you so much for being here. And what has being involved in this project meant to any of you? It's meant a lot.
I can start this one.
Go for it.
Just as a community member in this movement, getting involved has really sparked my involvement in local government and in, getting onto those city council and RTD board meetings. We had a lot of really strong leadership from Jeff and Shannon and other folks in there, kind of telling us exactly what we can do to support the Justice for Rivero campaign and to support Rivero. And, having someone who is still with us, who needs justice. And here we are getting to see him get justice in his life today. It's just really incredible. And yeah, Someone else.
Was this your first time being involved in some grassroots organizing or local politics?
I would say the first time being more like heavily involved.
Okay.
You know, really getting into those meetings. I think it was something that really was intimidating before. And these are really interesting times because right now, all of those meetings are Zoom and call in. So it's a really fantastic time to start getting involved if you're someone who has been hesitant or intimidated in the past. It's a wonderful time. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being a part and just plugging in. Conrad, what about you?
You know, I saw Shannon waving her arms. Is she trying to get in to say something right now? Or should I go ahead and talk for a second here?
I think by the miracle of technology, we might have Rivero here. So I'm going to try to share my screen and see if we can get it to work.
As that goes on, I'll just really quickly say that, it's always cool to get to work with more artists and more musicians and more people around the community doing cool art. So that's always a bonus. But this was also the right thing. And so that was exciting. I'd never really participated in or listened to RTD meetings before or really paid that much attention to city council. I've been kind of participating in both of those things now. And it's because of this project. It really has... I think brought on some participation in local politics in a way that I had never really done before. And I think that's really cool. And, yesterday when the news broke, it was kind of emotional to know that I was a part of something that first of all, got Rivero some justice. And second of all, got the city council to say, you know what, we don't want to work with these people anymore. And yeah, I've just never really been a part of that through art before. And so that was, especially in those kind of numbers, 25, what? So this was fantastic, but I'm happy to see Rivero on the screen right now.
I'm happy to see Rivero on the screen right now too. What's happening, bro?
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you everyone. I don't know, I can't see anything. Well, I see a smiley face, but that's good enough for me.
Can you all see and hear Rivero?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Rivero, we did it. This is about as hard as getting city council to cancel that contract.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess.
Right on, Rivero. Well, I know that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I don't know where the conversation's at or anything like that, but I just thank you.
Right on, man. Thank you. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for making it through all of this. Thank you for being willing to allow others to tell your story, because your story is such a powerful story that that is going to be told for years to come. Your ability to be present here means everything to us. And this is why we do this. We're through this project and through this process and through your story, I don't think any of us will ever be the same. I don't think any of us will ever be the same. So thank you, brother. Thank you. And so this is all about the power of art, the power of the creative force, the creative source, that we all come from as artists. And you, Rivero, you're an artist. Shout out to Rivero for all the incredible animation and art in the project. Shout out, because that stuff is an incredible work, incredible photography, man. So I just want to ask you one question. I only have one question for you, bro. And that is, what does the power of art what does that mean to you? How has art been such a powerful force in your life?
Rivero, are you still there?
Ever since I got to do some type of art, something. Oh, you can't hear me?
I can now. I can.
Okay. But yeah, ever since I was small, that 5, 6, 7 years old, I was forced to do artwork. And that was from my dad. He was an engineer in the military, so that's all he knew was artwork and facts. And that was spanked into me, and I appreciate that. And that's what really made me look at art and really think of art in different ways. Think of art more than just something that you see, but it's actually something that you not only create, but it can affect other people's lives. And it's incredible that artwork does that. And just like the point that you brought across in the film, and just to make it known that I didn't see the film until today, and it's incredible. So, and thank you, because it really does touch a few things that went on in my life, and I think that you got it right as far as my voice, and and there was the funny part was the RTD lady. That was right on. Kind of looking at that, you can see that that's, even though that's not the way they are probably in real life, you can see that that's the way people are in real life. You know what I'm saying? And as hard as it is to admit to that's just the way it is. And I'm glad that I had a really good team of the best people in Denver, really, I think. And say if I'm wrong, somebody prove me wrong. But I think I had the actual best team in Denver to work with. From the very first meeting, it was get them out of here. That was from the very. Now that we've accomplished that, I'm so overjoyed. I can't even describe it. But yeah, I just really, artwork is important, and it can change feelings, it can change vibes, it matters, and yeah, and you're Jeff and everybody else is a perfect example of artwork that can change things. And that goes for all the artists that were involved, and everybody in the background that were working hard. And you're a perfect example of what art can do for someone's life. Period.
Wow. Thank you. And so are you, brother. And so are you. Believe me.
Yeah, thank you. I think that we all are.
Right.
We all are. We're all special. We all deserve it.
That's right. That's it. Sam and Mike, you guys came into this on the production end and really brought that whole incredible work in pulling it all together and bringing it into your facility and doing your work around the digital venue. Really brought theater to life in a whole new way. So thank you so much for your contribution. Why must we continue to tell stories like Rivero's story?
Well, thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Rivero, and thanks, everyone. This was really a life-changing project for me to be involved in, and I think it, it's a life-changing, but like really, I've changed a lot in the moment too. So why do we make art like this? And Mike, I'm interested in your answer as well. But from what I can tell, art has always been the ultimate enemy of authoritarianism, the ultimate weapon to puncture the ego of the dictator and to show people that they're not invincible. And I think that it's really reconnecting for me. Our artistic mission is not just communication, expression, entertainment, self-expression, self-exploration. It's a gift and a responsibility that we have to seek justice and to share truth in ways that reach people, to provide the capsule for the medicine that we all need, to let it get in and make effect. And so I think that now that, I feel really privileged to be part of this cycle of justice that you all put into motion, and whatever small part we played, I really think that these kinds of truth-telling stories in this format are a formidable weapon in our arsenal of justice for the people, by the people. And in our community now we know that creatives, as long as they have the assets and the team, can send these messages out independently without the pressure of broadcast regulation these days, which means more stories, any story can be told and should be told in the pursuit of justice, and community. And so I think we should make more. That's my vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo what Sam is saying. But before I get into it, I just want to say how honored that I am to have been a part of the group that helped tell Rivero's story in this way. Collaborating with Jeff, Janine, Shannon, Aaron, Conrad, Sam, the people at the Armory. I mean, it's just been such a pleasure, and I cannot speak highly enough of these people. And I hope that we continue to work in this important facility, in this important capacity. Like Sam said, art is an enemy of authoritarianism, and it's very important that we keep art alive. And it's very important that when we have the opportunity that we use art to tell stories like this. Stories like this need to be heard. People in Denver, people around the world deserve to hear these stories. It's very important that they know what happens in their communities. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it really feels like we've built some sort of model, isn't it, Janine? It feels like we're on to something that we could, replicate wherever we see injustice. The storytellers are coming.
Absolutely. This has been a real inspiration to work with this team, activists working alongside of artists, and just all pulling it together. This has been a wonderful project. And I do really quick want to shout out to Erin Preston, who couldn't stay on the line, but she did our video with Erin Preston Productions and just did a fantastic job. And like magic, she appears. And also shout out to all the actors and everybody who worked behind the scenes to make this happen. This has been a very important and gratifying experience.
Awesome. Yes, Aaron, so glad to see your face back in the place. What has been being involved in this, what has this meant to you, Aaron, being involved with this project?
Well, it's hard not to repeat a lot of things that have already been said. However, I will say that the day that you made the post about starting this campaign and really feeling like, something that we can do with our skills as video producers and storytellers is like, can video help also the campaign move farther, or really give that extra storytelling piece to it? And so it's just been awesome to work with such a great group of people and be able, again, like everyone has said, to tell an important story. I literally just found out on our call before this what happened. So for me, it's been, again, very emotional in the last hour and a half, knowing what has happened with the campaign, and that when people show up and use all their skills as a team, stuff gets done. It moves the needle forward, and that's hopeful. That gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is amazing what we can do with just a small group of folks. When it comes down to it, there was a small number of volunteers who stayed in this fight from July 4th all the way to yesterday. It was a small group. And, there were a bunch of us that just plugged in and out. Shoot, I was on my last leg last night. I went to sleep before I found out. I woke up to text messages saying that they rejected, Allied's contract. I had already went to sleep believing that we got to continue to fight these fools, man. And so to wake up and to get that text message, boy, I was blown away. I was like, on my last leg, at the point where I had almost given up myself, or at least thought that we had to regroup or continue to fight this battle. But we were heard. The message got out. We started July 4th, and we did the public service announcement. And Aaron, you did an amazing job. And I also want to shout out Janine, because Rivero was talking about the voice of RTD character. Janine wrote that. That was hilarious. I mean, that was such an awesome monologue. Can you tell them how you put that monologue together? How you put that together?
Well, it's funny because I think Rivero just even said, it seems real, but not really real. The vast bulk of that monologue was drawn from actual comments from RTD meetings. I spent a long time listening to those and extracting them and pulling them together and organizing them. But a lot of that is real public comment. And I will share that I spent a few years of my life working in local government. So it was also a little bit fun to draw on some of those experiences about how defensive elected officials get when faced with hard stuff that they need to take care of.
Yeah, you had seen those folks before, so yeah, it wasn't anything new. So I'm so glad you pulled that together, because it was brilliant. Conrad, you and I, we worked together on putting together the music, well, at least for the narrations. And that was a fun little experience, getting past your bull mastiff, getting past your guard dog, was one challenge. But that was a whole lot of fun. Can you talk about that process a little bit?
Yeah, so what was kind of cool is, we go back 20 some years to Twist and Shout days. And I remember in my house in Ogden, you coming over one night and me throwing up the microphones and recording you doing a little spoken word. And then we just never really were able to do it. Those were the same mics, at least one of them. So we had to do DIY style in my bedroom. We set up a table and a tray, and I mic'd you up and got that dialogue. And that was a lot of fun, actually. And then, I felt like the players in the playground, I had asked them for some content to work, to put underneath things, and the content they gave me was so ready to go. Just the violin and cello tracks, the flute, the guitar,
that stuff was so.
That stuff was so.
It was just ready.
It was just ready for what we were trying to do with it, and then to put your voice over top of that, and then like Janine, I spent a bunch of time listening to RTD meetings and pulling their voices out. That was them. They said those things, and so you know, at some point, if you're going to if your meetings are public
That's
records,
right.
then you get held to account. You know, I mean, that July 21 meeting, I'm actually about to blast a little more of that up on Facebook because there's a huge section where they don't even know how they renewed that contract. They did not know how that got renewed. And so, you know, this is election time. Some of those people are on your ballot right now. There's one in District A that I think needs removed.
May I say who the suggested candidate is? Tim Nelson, endorsed by Chantel Lewis, would be a great District A candidate. Also, can I say 2 logistical things? 3. We have a few questions in the queue. We have MJ in the queue if you want to pull her up. And I still have Rivero here on the Zoom. So Rivero, I have you to the screen. I know you can hear everyone. So just to say, if anybody wants to interact, just let me know.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Conrad. I love especially about how you pulled from the song, Take My Hand, Precious Lord, to build your sound score, which was beautifully vocalized by Marion M.J. Johnson in the house. I'm glad that you were able to rejoin us. Thank you so much for your voice and lending that to this project. What has it been for you to be a part of something like this?
Wow. This has been an incredible process. Being a vocalist, I think the thing you want the most is to move other people, and art and music are wonderful tools for that. And so to be able to use it this way for the first time was an incredible experience. I think I cried a few times practicing that song before we recorded it, thinking back. And so, you know, just being a Black woman growing up in this world and having my own experiences with our police department and experiencing some brutality, being able to, I wouldn't receive justice from that. My situation was much different. And so being able to become a part of something that is going to help someone find justice, getting that news that justice happened for Rivero was a bit like getting some news that justice for me too. And so thank you for bringing me in and helping me get involved. Kind of like Carly said, it was a little bit nerve-wracking in the beginning, learning to get involved in that civic process and being a part of, you know, the conversation with RT during their public comment, but it was all worthwhile. And I'm just excited that new and we could all be a part of that. Everyone who was a part of that should feel really proud of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You really, really set the mood and just set the tone for everything that had to be transpired in the telling of that story. Shannon, we'd love to go ahead and take some questions if you want to.
And I'm going to pop into the screen, hi everyone, to pull up a few questions, and we'll certainly take more as they come in. This is, we had a few questions during Sam Gilstrap's monologue, and they came in that asking if this was the actual confession or testimony. This one's from Lisa, and we've had a few in that.
Hi, Lisa. No, that was a dramatization, and it was based on the data that I pulled from the complaint on behalf of Rivero Stinet's legal team. I had pieced together things that had been said during confession and kind of made a composite idea of who this character was. And then so that's where that came from. So no, it was not the actual confession.
We have another Lisa. This is gratitude for the story, for Raverro, for the storytellers. I think that's a feeling that we all share.
Thank you, Lisa Young. Thank you. Good to see your face in the place. So happy to see you tuned in. Thank you so much.
Red Zip Star says, so happy for everything that happened yesterday.
Red Zip. Hi, Red Zip. All right.
And Patricia says, moving, poignant, such an important story. Thank you all.
Thank you, Patricia.
As those questions come in, I'm happy to pop back in and bring them up as we're wrapping up tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you. So I want to pose this next question to Aaron, and then I want to get into, then I want Shannon. I want to just talk to you about your role and how you got involved and just everything from your context. But Aaron, you brought together the video. So you started off with the PSA. You and Zach and your team created that compelling PSA that just got right to the point and told the story. And then piecing this stuff together in the video for the overall long piece. How was that process for you? I know that you had expressed different things that you had felt or noticed before. So how was that process for you in your participation?
Well, this is incredible to be part of a performance as well. And like, honestly, you wrote everything and we tried to give, justice to what you wrote. And it was, again, such a great opportunity to collaborate with your team, with Sam and Mike and their whole crew at the Armory, and also take some, I guess, Zach, I thought, did a good job with the narration and the footage that we were able to find to kind of still also give a little bit of visual story to what you and Conrad had worked on as well. So, yeah, it was just, especially because all of this happened so fast, by the way. I don't know if that was mentioned, but to have everything come together like that so quickly and have people show up and get it done and here it is a great learning experience, definitely always learning. And again, hopefully this has been part of some big decision making that recently happened. And hopefully it really goes to show that when you put your minds together, we can accomplish a lot. So thanks for believing in us, and to Rivero as well to be on the team and help, maybe give a little bit of a visual part to the story as well.
Well, your part was definitely an integral piece of all of the storytelling. Everyone came together, we're like that sixth ring that the Bulls got. We were like, we came together, boy, that was seamless.
That was seamless. Yeah, and I do want to give a shout out to Zach, who couldn't be here tonight, but Zach Gutierrez put a lot of heart and soul into this.
Yep.
So.
Zach, we got your back. Shannon Hoffman, project manager of From Allies to Abolitionists, just driving the train, the taskmaster, the engineer, keeping things rolling. Just want to say, you really held the glue of the campaign together and brought us right to the production and saw the whole thing through. Your process, your way of doing things, your participation, your perspiration, everything that went into this. What is this meant for you?
Well, I think to what everyone has said here about what a group of people can do is pretty amazing. I would say for me personally, why I wanted to get involved is that I really wanted to push myself. I felt like I had been taught a lot by people in Memphis, where I moved here from, and I wanted to use a lot of those skills and gifts that they gave to me. And, you know, I think someone said there's a comment about the pandemic, and, you know, beyond the pandemic, we are in, it's so hard to say we're in an extremely poignant moment in our country when you examine our country's history and you realize that what we are experiencing is just a reiteration over and over. And so, but why I say that is organizing now is more important, is I don't know if more important than ever, but it is so important. And, you know, I'm a nerd. I like to read and, you know, research things, but not everyone likes to do that. And I really appreciated Chantel saying, you know, that she appreciated this work because not everybody wants to sit on RTD calls all night long, but that doesn't mean that you can't engage in the civic process. And so I think, you know, that there are creative ways to engage in the civic process has really meant a lot to me. And two other things. Thank you, Sam. At one point, Sam said to me, though I'm not one, I'm like the non-creative person on this team, Sam would say, Shannon, the way you do things is creative to problem solve. So thank you for saying that. And, you know, I would just like to say too, that I said this to Rivero earlier today, but you know, Rivero's from Montbello and my students are from Montbello. And I don't want this kind of world for my students. So it's really up to all of us to take care of each other. And that's what this means to me.
Right on. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And thank you for all your hard work and dedication. Was there another question in the chat about COVID or something?
Well, Lisa says, and you accomplished all this in a pandemic, which is indeed
okay, got it.
Quite impressive. But Lisa also had another question, which is, I think, a great question for all of you. Maybe a nice way to wrap up our evening tonight, which is, what's next?
I think that's a great question. We'll just go around and ask folks what's next. I'm going to start with you, Shannon, since we left off with you before.
Rivero, can I pop you back in for a second?
Yeah.
You have any creative projects coming up?
I am going to, I don't know. No, I have been offered a couple. I have friends that refuse to let me sit idle. So I have a couple projects coming up. One of them, so I have time to pursue what I will be doing next. Is preparing for the monthly photography show at Redmine. Yeah.
Whoa! Can't wait to see it. Well, cool. I'm gonna pull you out, but I'm sure we'll pull you back in before we say bye for real. So.
And one more time, thank you everyone for doing this, and especially you, Shannon. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you so much. I just want to make it clear how much I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us be a part of your life and being in our community. And we're glad you're here. Okay, now I'm supposed to say what's next. Thank you everyone for the technology. So the goal with From Allies to Abolitionists is that we will run 90-day campaigns, and that at the end we will, as we are a project of Emancipation Theater, at the end of those 90-day campaigns, we will develop some kind of production, or something creative. So our next campaign will be about wealth inequality and people experiencing homelessness. So actually, last night's win also came with a loss that is connected to that, because we still have Allied in all of our shelters for people experiencing homelessness. So we are still in the fight to get Allied out of our shelters and out of our city.
Excellent. Janine, what's next on the plate for you, or what project are you currently doing, and what else is going on with you?
Well, right now I'm working behind the scenes with Emancipation Theater, and we were fortunate enough to get an Arts and Society grant that is helping us do some storytelling work with some of our neighbors who happen to be experiencing homelessness. So look for folks like that and their stories in our next few projects with Emancipation. Thrilled to be doing it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sam and Mike, what's going on for you guys? What's next going forward?
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everyone. Well, next year at the Armory, we're looking forward to supporting the work of From Allies to Abolitionists and Emancipation Theater in any and all capacities that we can. Really excited about that and more justice campaigns here in Denver. And then we're also working on something close to our hearts, which is something called When the Music Stops, which will be like an intimate portrait of the technical teams and artisans and production teams that put together the whole entertainment, live music industry experience and what they've been going through during COVID, and trying to raise some money for their relief funds and feature some great music here from Denver. And then we're going to be telling the story of a collection of Russian avant-garde art that finds itself at home here in Denver. And and then trying to stay warm. We're wearing a lot of long underwear. So what about you, Mike? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're obviously excited to have all that on coming up on the docket. For people watching at home, you can follow us at the Armory Denver on Instagram, Facebook, and stay tuned for all that programming. We're very excited to bring that to you.
Thank you so much. Conrad, what about you? What do you got next?
Couple things quick. Playground Ensemble is going to be doing a streamathon November 7 around Colorado Gives Day. If you just go to playgroundensemble.org. November 8, I'll be performing low latency internet live performance at something out of Stanford called the NowNet Conference 2020. And also, I think Jeff and I are going to be dropping a single soon called Synagogue of Satan. We recorded more than just what we told people here. So I think we got a drop coming. And then I'm just waiting on that call. Sam, I want part of this avant-garde Russian art, though. You need me. We have those composers. So, but whatever's next with Emancipation Theater or Allies to Abolitionists, let me know.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Definitely going to hit them with surprises. Carly, how about you? What's next on your docket?
Yeah, so I am going to stay involved in the From Allies to Abolitionists Facebook group. There's some amazing leadership going on in there. Like I said, from Shannon and Jeff, lots of tasks, like concrete. Hey, tomorrow, this is happening at this time. This is what you can do, and this is what you can say. Like, they really set us up for success to be activated and involved and impactful citizens and constituents. So I will definitely be keeping up in there. And, anyone who wants to join the group, it's just From Allies to Abolitionists. So I highly recommend it. It's been really transformative in the way that I participate in my community. And yeah, other than that, just bringing my healing medicine to people, to the community, and being involved with Creative Strategies for Change, which is another organization who does some great workshops, and I highly recommend their work
Absolutely.
as well.
Shout out to Rachel and Bianca and Maurice and the whole fam over at Creative Strategies for Change. MJ, what's next for you? What's on your plate?
Well, you can't get rid of me now, so we're attached at the hip. All things from allies to abolitionists and emancipation theater, because it's an awesome experience to work with you guys. Like Harley said, having leadership in that way that kind of leads you through the process as you're in is awesome. Continue working behind the scenes with you on Storytelling Amplifies Us to bring community together and share those important and incredible stories, to continue to create those networks, and help people understand how they can get involved. And hopefully we'll get a podcast up and running here soon and continue to get that good work and that good word out there. So I'm excited.
Right on. Thank you so much. Aaron, what you got coming up on your plate?
Well, we're just trying to navigate the interesting experience of making videos during a pandemic, which keeps us on our toes, but we're moving forward. And an organization that we worked with in Guatemala recently won an award for the video we made them, so it gives some hope and hopefully one day we get back in the field again. But I think also what's been great about this process is just coming up with an idea and moving forward. And we stumbled upon a story while working with Hunger Free Colorado. And now I think this has really given me some extra inspiration to find out more and make more documentary work, or move more into documentary work, and hopefully work with you guys around people experiencing homelessness. Zach has done a lot of work with a coalition of
Colorado Coalition of Homeless.
Coalition, yes. So hopefully we'll be involved and just take it day by day and stay inspired.
Thank you so much. And Sarah and everybody at MCA, I just want to say thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share this story with you and your constituents, your members. It really meant a lot to us for you to invite us to be a part of this exhibit.
Well, we are honored to be able to present this tonight, and we are delighted that it came on the heels of such good news. So I want to thank you, Jeff, Shannon, Sam, Mike, Janine, Carly, Conrad, Aaron, and MJ for being a part of this amazing conversation tonight. Thank you all who are at home for tuning in and watching this, and we're thrilled to be able to present these programs to you. So we'll see you next week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for a conversation with warm cookies of the revolution, a post-election conversation. No matter what the results or the outcome is, we're going to be here to have a conversation around that. So join us next week. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, and we'll see you then. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.